YouTubers to the Twin Life podcast.
Hello.
We are so happy. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Good. We are so happy to have you guys here with us. Again, thank you so much. Please make sure that you share, subscribe, and comment. Send us an email if you want. If there's anything you think we should talk about at twinlifepodcast at gmail.com. And then like we said, we love to hear from you guys. We love to keep interacting with you. Definitely check out our Instagram stories and stuff because we've been, doing all the things on there. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right.
So I guess we're going to get into it and get ready for the people that are only going to hear us. So sad.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
Also, if you're watching this, it is Wednesday, and on Monday we came out with a surprise episode talking about Taylor Swift's new album Folklore. So if you haven't checked that out, please go ahead and check that video out. It's a really short one, it's like 15, 20-ish minutes, and it's really good. So that note, move it on.
Bang.
Okay.
What's up, Twin?
What's up, Twin? How are you?
I am doing good. I have some chai tea and this new cute little cup that I got. Oh wait, you can't see it. Aha, wait.
Can
you
see
see
it?
it? Can you see it, Twin?
There you
There
go.
you
Now
go.
you can. And your lipstick, you can see it on there.
Yeah, you can see my lipstick because I've been drinking it because it's yummy.
Yeah,
And then,
everyone's seen this cup already, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because when Blake and I went to, I can't remember what it's called, some store that has like all the kitchen-y type stuff in it this week. And we found a cup for my mom, a mug for my mom. Did I tell you about this mug? I don't think I did. It's
No.
an owl, and it says, "Owl love you forever."
Oh, yeah. Mom showed it to me. She was like, "Did you see my cup?" And I was like, "Yeah, it says I'll love you forever." She's like, "Yeah, it's like grandma." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I probably should have been more enthusiastic. I didn't know that you bought it for her. I thought she just bought a cup. I was like, "You have 45 million coffee cups." Yeah.
No, because it's grandma. I saw it. I was in the store, and it said, "Owl love you forever." And I was like, that's grandma's, spirit animal or whatever. So I was like, Mom loved it. So I was really excited about that. And then we also got Jody, Blake's sister, a mug too. That was her wrong
Zodiac sign.
Zodiac sign. Yeah.
Where's my coffee cup?
Blake and I, we couldn't find one for Blake. There was no Aries. No, I'm sorry. She had to go in the back. She found an Aries one for Blake. There was no Gemini. There was no, there wasn't like a bear or, I love elephants, none of that stuff. Nothing that remotely at all anything about us, which is why I ended up getting this at Target.
So what does it say?
It says,
for people that are listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For people who are listening, it says Rise and Thrive. It's a pink mug. So Rise and Thrive, everybody, if you're listening to it.
And then everyone's seen, I think I've drank out of this one before, but if you haven't seen it, says enjoy every moment. And I actually got this for Mother's Day from Phoenix. So it's from Target also. Target has all the best coffee cups. And this is like a boat. Like this thing is ginormous.
Okay, but this one I have is like a Gilmore Girls size mug. Like this is one cup of coffee because from the Keurig. It didn't even fill it up all the way. It only filled it up halfway. This thing's a monster.
Yeah, this is literally like Phoenix got this for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so much tea. Like this is like 2 of my normal cups of tea. Like we have like the regular coffee cups, like the little tiny cute ones. I don't even know how many ounces it is. It's like giant. Oh, it says it's 17.5 ounces. 17.5 ounces. My water is 32. So that's like literally like half of this.
It doesn't say how many ounces on mine.
Oh, okay.
I wish it did. Anyways, I'm over here looking on the bottom of the coffee cup. Anyway, so that was exciting. So I got this cute little coffee mug this week. And then was this week the week that I did the video for landing? Yeah, I think it was this week that I did it was
like on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was so early in the week that I totally forgot that it was after the podcast. We did a Landon Hall video. So I think I'm going to try to, we actually have also cooked quite a bit this week. There were all the things.
I put up a cooking video
for the chicken. That
my
is
chicken.
Yes.
Did you see it? Wasn't it cute?
Yes. Your video was so much cuter than my video.
Sorry.
It was like, because I think you recorded it and then went back and like added all the stuff.
Edited it. And then added everything. Yeah. It took a while because I was like,
yeah, that's a lot of work. You don't realize, for those of you who like don't really do social media stuff, you do not realize how much work it is just to put up an interesting like Instagram story.
Minute and a half Instagram story.
A minute and a half Instagram story. Yeah.
It's you know how many videos I have? I have it like 6 clips on my phone over a minute because Phoenix was walking in and then he would be like, Mom, can you do this for me? And I had to stop and keep going. I was like, Phoenix, either sit here and participate, go do something else because this is not supposed to take me forever. Like, this is literally going to be a 1.5 minute clip and it's taking me 40 minutes.
You know what you can do though too so I figured this out like partial of the way through me recording mine for the mac and cheese. We need to take those and put them in our summer clips. Did we move them already? Did we put them in our summer highlights?
I think we need to create a food one.
Okay, so if we're gonna do that, you want to start doing that? Okay, so we are officially going to start adding.
All the time.
Ashley cooks all the time, so you'll see me pop in here and there because I don't cook like that. But we'll put a food one of Ashley and I making our meals. I cook a lot of breakfast stuff and whatever, but we will start adding our recipes.
I sent you the summer highlight like photo, but you haven't added a clip, so I can't add the photo.
Oh, you can't add
clips.
Oh, got it. Okay,
you have to add a highlight.
Okay, I'll go ahead and add the highlight and add all the video clips to it so that we officially have our summer. I'll get it in there before it's fall because then it's going to be fall and we're going to have all these fall videos. But we'll make a separate one for food too. So that's kind of cool. So we're adding that. So we're really working into like, really connecting with you guys more in different ways on our social media. But that are natural to us. So the cooking videos are fun. I definitely want to do a lot more shopping hauls, because like not that we shop like crazy all the time, but when we do shopping stuff with Landon especially, I think it's fun to show you guys kind of what we got and things that Landon likes and that are kind of like not crazy in price range, because Ash and I are both kind of like not the kind of discount shoppers. Like I don't really like to spend more than 40. Like if a pair of jeans is $40, I'm like, there better be a freaking Kohl's cash that goes with that $40 pair of jeans, or I'm not getting it. So but that's kind of in the week.
So this week for me, I tried out the fitness center. I think I talked a little bit about last week that I wanted to. So this week I tried it out, and if you've been watching my stories, you've seen that it's F45 training at East Lake Village, or East Lake. I think it's called East Lake Village. There's like 2 of them. They're like very similar names, but I think the one that I go to is East Lake Village. Anyways, I've tagged it in my stories. I think I might add a fitness one or something. Maybe I'll just put it in the summer one. I don't know, but there's a lot. I get a lot of clips where I'm working out. So the class was super fun. It's ridiculously hard, but in a good way. My arms, and we were talking about this before we started the podcast, like we did so many push-ups on Friday, and I literally like can barely like move my shoulders. Like I can put my arms mostly above my head very, very slowly. And like I was literally
but you did it like 5 days a week this week, didn't you? Monday through Friday.
I didn't do Monday through Friday. I took off. I worked out on Sunday. I worked out on Monday. I took off Tuesday. And then I did Wednesday, Thursday. Oh yeah, I did 5 days. Yeah. So I didn't do anything yesterday. Like my Apple Watch was like, what are you doing? You're not moving at all today. And I was like, no, I'm not, because I'm tired. Yeah. I didn't do anything. I was exhausted yesterday. And then, so I kind of used that as like a solid recovery day, not even like a light recovery day, like a solid, like I barely wanted to go up and down the steps type of day. I think we went and walked Sansa. Oh, we went to the pool and walked Sansa. And that was like the extent of my exercise yesterday. So, and if you don't, recording this on Sunday, so on Saturday. So by the time you guys hear this, I will have gone to 2 more classes. And I think we finally decided that we're going to go ahead and get a membership. It's $80 every 2 weeks. We can cancel, I think, whatever we want. We'll stick to it for a while and see what happens. But I like it. So.
Is Derek going to go with you eventually?
Yeah, he said he was going to try one out with me. I think we'll try to do it. I don't know what day though, because like they do have Sunday classes, but obviously we record the podcast on Sunday and then we're off on Thursday together. And I don't know if he's going to want to wake up with me at 6:45 to go to a workout, to go to a class on our day off. Plus we'd have to drop Phoenix off super early at school in order to go. Cause I think it's 8:15. Right. We'd have to drop him off at like 7:45, which is not that big of a deal, but there'd be like some like things we'd have to work out. So, that said, let's get into the Did You Sees, because we have a very interesting topic this week that we want to dive into. So what you had one or two, didn't you?
I mean, there's really not a whole lot that happened. I mean, there's a bunch of like political crap that happened this week, but as far as just like, fun things going on in the world, Demi Lovato got engaged, which was super exciting. She did like the sweetest post on her page. So that's really awesome for her. She, if you have not seen it, go check it out on Demi Lovato's Instagram page. She talks a little bit about her journey that she's had over the last couple years, between rehab, between going to the hospital, and like her suicide attempts, and all those things.
Relapse.
And how just like getting back and reconnecting with God and going to church, and that has really helped center her. And so she feels like her, like, not like her reward, but what she gained from kind of switching her lifestyle around was this wonderful person that she's now going to get married to. So that was really sweet to see. So I'm really happy for her. She's been through a lot.
Yes.
The girl's been through a lot. So she deserves to be happy. And then the other thing was Regis Philbin died, apparently.
I know. He was 88 years old though.
So
he lived a super long life. Yeah. And yeah, I don't really, well, the only other thing is Taylor Swift's Folklore album came out. But if you're listening to this already, and if you are probably already listened to our episode on Monday that we cover all things Taylor Swift and folklore, so we won't really focus on that too much, but that did happen this week. And if you haven't listened, we'll probably link it in the description, so it'll make it easier for you to get to. Otherwise, if you're in your feed, if you're on your podcast feed, just go up. It'll be like a huge bonus episode. Click on it. If you have 15 or so minutes to listen, go ahead and check that out. But if there's nothing else, I think we should go ahead and get into the topic.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this topic. It's gonna be a good one.
Okay. So, in light of the impending school year, and I have huge air quotes, school year.
Yeah.
Because we have yet to know what is going to happen with the school year. We're going to talk about a little bit about our expectations as far as our kids' education, and where we kind of see them going in the future with like secondary education, how we're going to school them between K through 12, things like that, and then how maybe COVID could affect that. So I don't know if you want to start, but like kind of, because our school experience is the same. So,
yeah, we had I guess I could say we had a very interesting school experience. We definitely didn't go through, we weren't in the same school for our whole educational life. We didn't live in the same city our whole educational life.
Not even the same state.
Not even the same state. So we moved quite a bit. So but we were in public school. My mom homeschooled us for a short time when we were younger. We didn't go to preschool as a kid. Did we even do kindergarten? I think it was first. Do you remember kindergarten? I don't think we did kindergarten. I think we homeschooled for kindergarten.
Yeah.
Preschool, kindergarten, all that stuff.
For kindergarten. Yeah.
Yeah. So for first grade through high school, we were in public school. At 16, we were filming a project. And so we actually ended up doing we went to middle college, high school, which is actually a pretty cool program that I'm not sure if College of the Canyons in Santa Clarita Valley still has that program, but they had a program called Academy of the Canyons, which is where high school students do middle college, high school. So they basically they have school on campus, and then they do their high school classes, which are kind of like AP classes, and then they also do college classes as well. So they knock out a bunch of college credit on top of doing their regular high school classes. So we did a year, not even a year. I think we did a semester of that.
Our junior year.
Yeah, our junior year of that. We both hated it because we hated not being there were no sports. There were no like school activities. There was nothing to like be a part of really. And AOC didn't have sports. They only had a drama department. So like there wasn't a whole lot to participate in because it was a community college with not a whole lot of activities back then. So we both really hated it. So we ended up going back to regular high school. We got our high school equivalency before then too, like before we even, like after we went to AOC, got our high school equivalency so that we could film. And then we went back to high school for another year and then didn't graduate.
Another 2 years
because we didn't graduate from Valencia High School. If people don't know this story, this is the story. Okay. We didn't officially graduate from Valencia High because we were both way ahead in credits. We were both honor students. I know that if I didn't go for the last semester of high school, I would have graduated anyway. I had so many extra credits from all the transferring that we had done over the years.
Yeah.
So at the end of the semester, right before we were going to graduate, we moved back to, like, kind of circled around and went back to Austin, back to the high school we went to our freshman year of high school too. And they wouldn't let us graduate. They kept saying our credits wouldn't transfer, and like we didn't have enough. The school systems are just different in California and Texas, all this stuff. So we ended up not graduating from there. So we didn't actually walk from there, even though we were legally, we had graduated from high school. Like, it's not, we had a high school diploma. It just, we didn't get the whole graduation experience. So we ended up moving to Georgia, where our mother was at the time, and we did a whole nother year at age 17, which is weird because we would have graduated at 17. So it's not like we were like the weirdos that were like 20 years old in high school. Like, we were 17.
We graduated at 8. We were 18.
We were 18 when we walked. So we did a whole nother semester in a brand new state, brand new school, which was actually pretty fun. Our year at Forsyth Central was actually a pretty good freaking school year.
We did plays. I ran track. I went to Rico.
Yeah, we were involved in all the things. Like, we actually really excelled in that school. The only thing that sucked for me was I was like a quarter of a like 0.04 like points away from being in the honor roll at Forsyth Central when I was already on the honor roll at Valencia. So I didn't actually walk with on the honor roll, which really upset me. Ashley did, and
this girl did
because I got a B in freaking in chemistry or physics, a B in physics. So I didn't get enough points to graduate with honors from Forsyth Central, but whatever. But it was super fun. So we ended up walking from there in a barn, and like our school experience has been kind of confusing and long. Then we moved back to LA a couple years later. We both went to continue to do some community college stuff, and then we started working full time. And so, like, neither of us went back to college full time because we just literally started working, and we've kind of been working ever since then. So for the last decade, Ashley and I have had full-time jobs and worked, and
there's definitely like a couple of things. There are some people that don't thrive in the regular school environment. I think we thrive in that environment. Like we said, we went to an alternative situation, and that wasn't for us. Like, we thrive in the school environment of changing classes and interacting with people, and
we were always
the structure and and so I think that-that's like kind of the thing for us is like some people don't thrive in that environment, but we definitely thrived in like the standard regular school, brick and mortar, show up at 8:15, leave at 3, whatever type of environment.
Well, we never left at 3. Rarely ever did.
Well, yeah, but I know, but I mean, like, school was over. We left at like 10 o'clock sometimes, but so we did all the activities. And I think that going to work, right, and like going to community college, realizing we didn't really have for me at least, I didn't feel like I didn't really have a direction of where I wanted to go. And I was like, I don't want to spend all this money if I don't even know what I'm going to study. Thus, a lot of our friends in their 30s having degrees and hundreds of $1,000s in debt for degrees they don't even use. We thankfully don't have student loans. Derek doesn't have student loans, and he didn't finish getting his degree either. So it's like,
Blake was in the Army, and so he doesn't have student loans either. But his school experience is just totally different than ours. Like, he went to a military academy his whole school life pretty much. So and his was like a boarding school. So he would be at school literally at school all year except for summer, and then he'd go back home for summer, and then he'd be on campus for the whole year. I prefer, I guess, and for me, that sounds like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want to be away from my family that long. Or like, as a mom, I want to really like be interactive and really participate in the everyday aspects of Landon's school life. So I would prefer for Landon, honestly, if I was to say, and you can answer this for Bean, I would prefer for Landon to go to a really, really good public school. I don't really want him to go to a private school. Not that there's anything wrong with private schools. There's plenty of kids that I know that grew up in Los Angeles that they went to private school because the public high schools in
weren't that great.
Los Angeles weren't that great. But living in Georgia now, there's fantastic public schools here. So I don't feel like I think if you don't need to spend the money to guarantee a really good education for your kid, then public schools, there's some amazing public schools in this country. The second thing for me is that I really, really, really want Landon to go to not just an ethnically diverse, but a fiscally, financially diverse school. So that he's not just going to school. If your kid are going to private school, unless there's a few kids that are like on scholarships to these private schools, most of the people that they're in a certain tax bracket, and that's the only tax bracket of people that you really spend a lot of your time with. I want to make sure that Landon gets a full perspective of like the world, and he'll get more of a perspective of the different classes of people, different ethnicities of people. So that's like something that's super important for me when we're looking for like our final like city that we're going to grow base Landon in, and our home and all that stuff, is that we're in an area where he's going to experience those things. And especially in the climate that we're in now, it's like heightens the importance of us putting him in a place like that. So
and I think like, so for Phoenix, I think the same is true. I mean, he sort of has like an example at home of an ethnically diverse situation with us and with me and Derek, and then his heritage being half Mexican. But I think that is important. Like he has, and I think San Diego's a good representation of that. He sees all types of people all the time, and I think the one, group of people he doesn't see that much would be Black, but more on like people that are darker skinned in general. He doesn't see a lot of that. So I think that that's something that, we just need to just in general, like if you don't have access to that, I would say like just making sure that he's watching television that has that, and like having teachers that are of different races. And I think the biggest thing right now is he has a lot of teachers that are of some sort of Hispanic heritage. So he's used to hearing like that accent. He's used to hearing Spanish around him and things like that. So I think that that's pretty good. And then also right now where he is, I'm choosing to put him in a Spanish immersion program. And then, Chula Vista is good about it. All the schools around us, they have the opportunity from first grade on through elementary school to be in Spanish immersion. And then once you hit middle school, then you're just in your normal Spanish class. But by the time you get to 10, he'll be fluent in Spanish. So that'll give him like a good solid heads up. And then if he wants to take a different language in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, if he wants to take French or German or ASL or whatever, he'll already have that background of being a bilingual kid. So I think that's pretty cool, just for his ability to like grow and develop in education. And I kind of wish we had learned a second language too. And the only other thing I would say is that music is very important too. So integrating some sort of music into wherever school he goes to, I want to make sure that they have
arts programs in general.
I want to make sure that they have an arts program as well as the program. Like when we grew up, you picked an instrument, you rented it, you played it all through middle school and whatnot. So I want him to be able to do that. I would prefer it be piano, but any instrument he can learn to read music, I'll teach him piano here. So what do you have, like, Landon's not in school yet, but like what's your mind kind of going towards?
Like what things that I want in a school for him, like, or what I want for him to be participating in. I guess both. I guess in my like dreamland of what, like, this is the kind of student I want Landon to be. Like he has two, if I pat myself on the back, two very highly intelligent parents. So I don't feel like Landon, barring anything, that I don't want to happen, I don't see Landon having really a whole lot of difficulty in the education part of school. But I also really want him to be active in like sports and stuff. Like Blake coached lacrosse, so I really want Landon to be a part of some sort of, as soon as he can, when he hits 5, I want him to be involved in some sort of sport or some sort of physical activity, so he just gets used to, his body just starts building muscle memory of being involved in sports and athletics every day. Now, granted, if he gets to high school and decides he hates sports, which I doubt, but if he hates sports, my soul will be a little bit hurt. But I want him to hate sports and have a passion strongly for something else instead. So that he feels, so that I do want him to go to college. Not that I feel like everybody needs to go to college, but if I would love for Landon to get a scholarship to go to college, so that he doesn't get stuck with those student loans, but he also gets that education and gets that like life experience. But I'm also that person that really thinks that work experience is super important. So during those school years, Blake and I both decided that Landon, like at 16, is gonna have a job. He's gonna work in a restaurant. We've already decided this. He's gonna work in a restaurant. He's gonna have a job. not that many hours a week. Just like, I think legally they can only, if you're 16, you can only work 4 hours,
a day
after school, whatever. But I would like him to have a job, even if it's just like, even if he just works 1 day a week. I want him to have a job that gets him out interacting in like the world, gets him to build that. Even if he has good work ethic in school, it's a different work ethic in the workforce.
Yeah.
And then in college, I want to make sure that he gets, that he does an internship for whatever program he's in while he's in school, so that he, again, has that work experience. I know a lot of people that, like we said earlier, got their education and then they don't use it, one, or they don't have the work experience to apply it to a job that's going to actually make the money. So they literally go to school, live at school, graduate, move back in with their parents, and then have to work either for free for a few years until they get hired somewhere because they don't have the work experience to follow it. So,
yeah.
And everything that with Landon, I just kind of, with the experience that I've had in school, I would like us to dodge and dip as many of those like struggles that he could have later in life, just from, Blake and I's, both Blake and I's experiences. So, but yeah, that's kind of like, if I was thinking about like what I want his school experience to be like, those are the things that I'd like, the marks I'd want to hit. Like I said, I really want him to go to a private or public school. They have great ones here. So yeah. What about you? What are you wanting? Like, what's your like fantasy picture of Bean's schooling experience?
Yeah. So I think that there's only some things that are non-negotiable for me. The big non-negotiable is that he will play an instrument and he will play a sport. I don't really feel like I'm going to waver on those things. I don't care if he hates it, to be honest.
That's nice.
Phoenix is already super athletic and he's 4. So there's really no point in him being like if he says, I don't want to go on to college and play a college sport, that's a whole nother ball game. But I feel like playing a sport is very important. Now, does it have to be the same sport? Does it even have to be a sport that I like? No. Do I have a preferred sport? Yes, I prefer that I go back and forth about football. Football is extremely dangerous. But I love football and I love to watch it, would love to watch Phoenix play football. But you kind of have to figure out like, you can't really tell what kind of like build your 4-year-old is going to have.
Right. So you don't know what position to put him in.
Like, yeah, like what position is he going to play, So I think but I just want him to dabble in all the sports. So we plan to put him in one of those like summer programs where he kind of like touches all the sports. He kind of gets to see all the sports and, just getting him outside right now, running, he already just runs around all the time. He has a great arm. He can throw anything super far. It's kind of ridiculous. And so we're just kind of like watching him and figuring out what he's going to be good at from that. And then as far as piano, or specifically piano, I am going to push that on him, and I will keep pushing that on him until he leaves my house, and then you don't have to play anymore. But by then he will have 13 years of experience. So great. I will have bet him 13 years of piano experience. As long as, and I mean, I feel like he will like it. So I don't know. I don't want him to be overwhelmed though. That's another thing is like kind of, I don't want to be like a tiger mom and like push all these activities on him so that he never has time to like rest and be a kid,
Right. Exactly. I really don't want to do that either.
He never has time to like go get ice cream after school with his friends because he's off to soccer, then this, then that. But at the same time, who knows? All of his friends may be doing the same thing. They may all be going to soccer practice, or they may all be going to whatever. That sort of becomes your community. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit all up in the air. We're kind of trying to figure out where he will land. But there are things that I'm like, in a perfect world, he will play a sport. He will love it. He will play piano. He will love it. As far as like college and secondary education, I don't really have a hard and fast rule. Again, I'm going to watch him and see like what is he interested in, when he gets to that high school level, and kind of like push him like, okay, like let's see what opportunities there are right now as a high school student for you to develop. Because by the time he's a freshman in high school, I would say he will have a propensity for something. Like we'll have an idea of like what he's good at, So we can kind of try to drive him that way. Like if he already kind of has like this ability to like build anything. So if he has,
maybe put him in a shop class or something.
Yeah, shop class, or if he has like that engineering type of mindset, send him off to a STEM camp or whatever. So I don't know. It's all up in the air
right now. Well, as like a mom, what kind of like, so I are you going to be the type of mom that wants to be like super involved in all the things, like PTA mom, like soccer mom? Like, are you going to want to do all that thing, or are you going to be like,
I think I will stay in my lane. I love to bake, so if we're doing a bake sale, I'm here for it. I will bake all the things. Nowadays, who knows? You can't even bake anything because everyone's allergic to everything. But if they still do those, I would be down to do that. I do want to be the mom that's bringing the Gatorade and bringing the protein bars and bringing the whatever to like practice, or the meets, and I want to go to all the games, recitals, whatever. The only thing I don't like about recitals is watching other kids. I really just want to watch him.
We got that from our mother. Our mom was the funniest freaking mom in the world. Whenever Christian was really involved in choir, so we had to go to a ton of recitals. We were in band, but it's like the whole band was playing, so it's like, it's not like one kid's like on the spot or whatever. So at the recitals though, oh my gosh, Christian's little recitals, sometimes kids would just be doing the funniest stuff. Like, you're not supposed to laugh, you're supposed to take it real serious. But I just remember our mom would just be cracking up at some of these recitals that we would go to. It was so funny.
That's the only way to get through it. It's so boring.
I remember
going to it and being bored. And you want to support your kids, but I mean, even when it's this Christmas recital for Phoenix, and I just like, it was boring. He was cute, but he only was up there for 2 minutes. So anyway.
Well, because for that, it sucks because you have to watch like at least when it's like the band recitals or something, it's like they had like, for us, we had 3 separate bands. Yeah, Ashley and I were in band. Did I mention that? But we were in band. I played the flute, she played the clarinet, and the bass clarinet. But we had like 3 different bands. So we had like concert, what was the first one? There was concert and symphonic. Right, concert and symphonic. What was the first one? Cadet. Was it cadet?
Yeah.
Cadet, maybe. Concert and symphonic. I think it was the first one. So basically, when you're in middle school, you have to audition for your high school slot and which one of the bands you're going to be in. So each one had like one performance. So you didn't have to go to like all of them. Like cadet would have a concert, and then the next night concert would have a concert, and then symphonic would have a concert. So like, you're not sitting there watching all these kids you don't care about, and that sounds horrible, but you're not watching all these kids you don't care about like do their thing. You're just watching your kids' night, celebrate them, blah blah. So, but I definitely am that person that wants to be like, in my head, for some reason, I just think I want to be involved in all the things. Like, maybe I'll just decide that I don't want to be involved in all the things, but I do want to just be like a super involved parent. And I would love for Landon to appreciate my involvement in his like everything life. But with both of us being stay-at-home moms, like, I really want to be involved in like all the things that he does, not to completely take over what I'm doing, but I have this concern in my head that once he goes to school, I'm going to be like, what do I do with my day? Like said,
it's not a thing.
At school. What do I do?
I do it every day, 4 days a week. And inevitably on Friday, I'm like, I need one more day. When Phoenix doesn't have school on Friday. You find there is so
okay, but you had this concern. When you were,
but I've been a stay-at-home mom multiple times, and I told you I read an article. I think I talked about it on the podcast. I read an article, and this mom was saying like, people ask her all the time, like, all your kids are in school now. What do? You don't work? And then she's like, I do all the things for my kids and my husband that he can't do, and that's what I do. I make sure the house runs. If I was at work all day, and this is a fact, when I was at work all day, the house was dirty all the time. We were never caught up on laundry. We were never caught up on anything. We were grocery shopping at 10 o'clock at night to grab things that we needed. Everything, we didn't have days off because everything that we were on, it was either rest on your day off or run around and do errands and clean and catch up for the rest of the week. And it was, now there's not that. I can take the week and span things out so that I have time. Like, I have Monday is usually when I do podcast stuff. I catch up on that. I have my class that I go to in the morning. I do a little bit of cleaning or whatever that, a little bit of cleaning, catching up laundry. I do laundry every day, if every other day, if not every day. Just taking care of Sansa, keeping her hair off the floor, which is a task in its own. Keeping Phoenix's room clean, making sure we clean all the sheets, once a week, and meal planning and meal prepping and all this stuff. Like, all these things, I could do if I had a full-time job, but it wouldn't be the same quality. So, and these all things that I enjoy do. Like,
you'd be eating a lot more pizza and takeout if you were working.
Exactly.
Nobody would be home to cook anything.
Yeah, because right now I can remember like, oh, I need to make sure that, you know, I pull out, we're having salmon today. So I make sure I pull out the salmon so that it thaws. And then if it isn't thawed, probably by the time we're done with this podcast, I'll pull it out and I'll try to force thaw it so that it thaws so we can cook it. And then I'm thinking about like, you know, Sansa needs a bath, and I'm literally, there's still a freaking ton of hair on the floor. And then we have Jordan here, who's our guest. And just like, you know, just there's just all kind of making sure Phoenix has clean clothes for school, because he has a lot of clothes, but he changes his clothes like at least twice a day. So he goes through all the clothes. And then Derek has a ton of work clothes, but only wears the same 6 shirts. So I'm always washing the same 6 shirts. You know, I'm just like, and then my own laundry, because I'm working out and I'm changing my clothes. And then sometimes I'm changing my clothes multiple times a day because I think I'm not going to go out. So I put on comfortable clothes after the gym. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to go for a walk with Phoenix. So I need to put on like real clothes, not like sweatpants and whatever it may be. So there's just things that I can do. And also like self-care. Like I can like get things done during the day, you know, as far as like doing my nails or whatever it is. Deep cleaning the carpets. I don't know. The list literally is infinite. So you will find, especially when your kid is in school, you will find things to do. And then now when it gets to the point where like, I don't have that, when Phoenix is in school and I have to run him his lunch, or I have to do whatever it is, or go, you know, participate at the school, which right now, so this is a good segue. You can't really go and participate at the school right now because you're not allowed in the school. Like they don't let any extra people in the school. So I kind of want to see where I could volunteer or something like that at his preschool right now, so that like I'm more involved. I learn people's names and stuff, but I can't do that right now because I'm not allowed in the school basically, because Derek drops him off. So I'm not allowed in there at all since I pick him up. So what things do you feel like, we're not really dealing with this because Phoenix is still in preschool, but like what things do you think that like moms and parents must be thinking right now as far as like their concerns for sending their kids back or not?
I mean, other than like health, I would say if you're worried about your kids' health because of COVID, I would say go get tested. That would be my advice. Go get your entire household tested for COVID if you're worried about them getting sick. If you do not have COVID, then there are so many. There have been so many commercials and new ones. Online programs for your kids to go to school. My priority, as much as it would hurt my soul, that for Landon not to be continuing to have his school experience with his friends and his teachers and his hands-on experience. And yes, I find it super important for your kid. If your kid is homeschooled, a lot of the best thing you can do is to put them in activities so that they are interacting with other kids on a regular basis. And then their schooling is at home, but then they're involved in stuff. Because
they're going to take that stuff away.
I know that, but I'm saying like that would be my advice for somebody who's homeschooling their kid. Now you really only get to like the homeschooling and the interacting with other kids. They're not really going to get that. So I can
just
understand.
Virtually.
Yeah, just virtually. So I can understand how parents right now are kind of like, well, I want my kid to be in school. One, because I have a job, and our entire life centers around our kids being in school in August. Or I'm a teacher and I need my money, but I also don't want to put my life at risk or put other kids at risk. Or the main thing with kids is not the kids being sick. There are very few people that are worried about, like, yes, we're worried about the health of the kids, but most kids have immune systems that are strong enough to handle COVID. What the main thing they're worried about is them getting the parents sick or getting the grandparents sick, or like the kid catches COVID from this kid they don't know, and then they go home and they live with their grandparents, or they live with their parents, but their grandparents watch them or pick them up from school, or this parent has an autoimmune deficiency or whatever. And so that's what they're worried about, is the kids like hurting the adults because they're in school, because school is always been the melting pot of the exchange of bacteria and viruses. That is why your kids' immune systems are so strong, because they go to public school. But it also is the reason why your kid's fine and you have the flu and you feel like you're about to die, because your kid's fine, but they gave you the flu from school, which has happened a lot. Like just our 2 households combined, since Phoenix has been in school consistently, we have all gotten sick.
Yeah,
all
all the time.
Yeah. So, and that is a valid concern.
Less at
back to what
his new school, but more when he was at the other schools.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely gotten sick less because he's pretty much been in school almost his entire time during the COVID situation.
Yeah, and I feel like 1 year school is fantastic. They're awesome there. It's a smaller school, so they are able to pay attention to detail. These high schools that have 7,000 kids in one graduating class are not going to be able to handle that much sanitizing and cleaning and stuff. And like they're gonna sit every kid every other desk, and you have half the class sizes. Just stuff like that are just, it's gonna be so hard to maintain. I personally think that what they should do is make a plan to have guaranteed 1 semester of every kid in the country stay at home, and all the teachers do online school, and you schedule it at just like you would in school. You are a part of, you go to, for example, you go to Valencia High. This is your schedule. We will be sending you your schedule. These are all the school supplies you will need to participate in this class. You will have a Zoom class from an hour. I should freaking email this to CDC. You will have a Zoom class. You need to be ready for school at 7 o'clock. You will have a Zoom class. If you are not participating in this Zoom class, you will be counted. You'll get absent. A tardy. You will get a tardy, or you will get blah blah blah. And our class is going to be 45 minutes. You have a 15-minute window between your first class and your second class to get all your school supplies. You will then have this class with this teacher. This will be your teacher. And all the students from that class will be participating in that class. You will get homework. We will email you your homework and your files. It can be done. People just be acting like this. It can be done. It can be done. It's going to take a lot more work from the parents, and it's going to take a lot more work from the teachers. But I guarantee you, these teachers already had their plan for the school year. They're just not going to be interacting with you.
So my concern about that is that's the perfect scenario.
It is.
But the idea of that is there's a lot of privilege there, because a lot of kids, even the kids that had access to a school, couldn't get to the school before there was COVID. There's kids all over the United States that
you'd have to be sending every kid would have to make sure they had a tablet to be able to, or a laptop to be able to sit in front of for 8 hours a day. I mean, they'd have an hour lunch break or whatever. But yeah, you'd internet access, Wi-Fi. A lot of AT&T was doing a universal Wi-Fi thing. I mean, it would literally take the entire country making our kids and education a priority, and our college kids education a priority. College kids, first of all, there are so many online colleges right now. It's ridiculous. So it's not like the professors could literally, even if the professors went to their physical class, just went to their physical classroom with no kids in it, and they still drew on their boards, wrote what they want, asked questions, wanted people to interact, they could still call on you just like they would in a classroom.
Yeah.
They could still virtually teach. Our world is so virtual right now that it could be done. It would just take a lot more work. But yes, it's a good point with the kids that there's going to be a lot of kids that won't have access to that, and their education could suffer, because unless we're about to send 10 billion, tablets, Apple and Dell and all these programs are about to just start mailing out tablets to kids which would be awesome. That's not going to happen. Start mailing out tablets to kids so they can participate in school. If you are of school age, you will be getting a tablet in the mail. If they can send out a $1,200 or $2,500 stimulus check, they can send every kid a tablet to use for school.
Yeah.
And it would also take the parents making sure it's priority. Try getting your child, your little kid, high schoolers is one thing. They just have to make that a priority for themselves to sit in front of their computer for 4
It's
hours
really only the parents. It's really only the parents of kids that are not old enough to be at home by themselves. If you have a 14 to 18-year-old, I would say leave their ass at home and go to work.
Yeah.
They're perfectly capable. And then, but they would have that system where they would have those consequences where it's like, okay, if you're not on the Zoom call in 10 minutes, it's closed. I'm not letting anybody else in. And then you're going to get a tardy. And that's it, is what it is. But then again, this is one of those things where maybe the kids just won't care.
Right.
But then but also it's going to be up to, just example, when you put your kid on a bus and send them to school, they get off that bus, but they could just as easily get off the bus and walk straight off the campus and never go.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of parents being you're home. It is your responsibility to get this done. If I come home and you have missed one class, boom, X, Y, and Z consequences, same consequences you would have had if you skipped school beforehand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you would just have to me, it's very, very similar if you have that age group. Now, if you have the
even
kindergarten
10
through elementary
even
school.
even 10, like, okay, when we were 10 and we were in what grade is that? 5th grade? 10? Is that 5th grade?
10. That's 5th grade, yeah.
Right. So when we were like 10 years old, Ashley and I were in all the things. We had to do it. We had to write a freaking essay for a wax museum that we had to memorize and stuff. So like even 10 years old is not old enough to be left at home. But if you're a stay-at-home parent and you have a 10-year-old, again, the same system applies. And they don't go to school as long. They get out of school at like 2 or something, and they don't have as many classes. They only take like 4 classes a day in the 5th grade. And
Yeah.
they either rotate them or they're not taking 8-hour-long classes like you do in high school. So even with that, that's 4 hours of the day probably for that 10-year-old that you would just have to focus on. And then they have the rest of the day. They'd get homework and all that stuff. Online books, still we have access to those in a mass amount nowadays. Funding and stuff is just probably the main issue, and access to kids that don't. So those would be the main red flags. But I feel like that setup's a good start. You know, like that.
To be honest,
teachers working. I mean,
I honestly feel like even in San Diego, okay, the average the income to live in San Diego for a household is $100,000 minimum just to live in San Diego.
yeah, it's crazy.
So just that fact alone, most people in the state of California need 2 incomes. So one parent staying at home. Now, if one parent's staying at home and that parent is collecting unemployment, then that's a possibility. But that's also one of those things where one of the parents is giving up their career. What if they love their job? And let's be real, the person that's going to not be working is probably going to be the woman. The man is probably not giving up his job to choose to stay home and watch the kids, right? So it's one of these things where it's like, there's so many nuances of like, well, what if the only non-negotiable is to say, or non-variable is to say, everybody just go back to school. And if you get sick, you get sick. The one thing too about the school though, is that if you have to get a health exam to go to school usually. You have to turn in your vaccination records and blah, 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 right? So what if, in order to go back to school, they made it so everyone just had to get tested? If you went back, because again, this is also a privilege thing because not everybody has health insurance and whatever to go get this done. But there's places where you can go for free to get this testing done. As far as I know, that is a thing now. So if they just made it so that anybody under the age of 18 gets tested for free in the entire country, then if your kid tests positive,
all of you have to get tested.
Yeah, everybody has to get tested. If your kid tests positive, they can't come back. If they test negative, they can come back. And then you make them get tested,
But what you do is you just make them like, if they would have started this process in July and tested all the kids that could be going to school and then test them one more time right before they go back to school, then any kid that knew that they were positive would quarantine for 14 days and get retested before they went back to school. If they tested and said they had antibodies, then they're good to go to school. I mean, I know they're trying to say now, but we're not really sure if you have antibodies. No, I can tell you from personal household experience that if you have antibodies, you're going to be fine. So you just go back to school. So I feel like, yes, it would be great if we could get all the kids tested. You have to bring your records to school, even if they just set up testings. Like, remember in the 5th grade, and this is the last thing we'll talk about on this because we got to get done with the topic. But when we in the 5th grade, they set up, like, it was like a week before school or the first week of school, we had to get TB tests. And they just had us lined up in the hall, the freaking 5th grade hall, and we all had to get TB shots. It was set up in a little classroom. We had to sit there and get TB shots. And if you in like the next day or whatever, it came back, and like if you looked at it, it got like whatever infected or something, then you got TB, you couldn't come to school. Same with COVID. That's literally what they should do. Just line all the kids up. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of testing, a lot of time, a lot of hours. But kids need to go back to school. Just for the economy to continue running, kids have to be in school. Our economy is based on kids being in school because there's so many people that won't be able to work because of that. So I guess not
my
even
closing
just
thought, if there's no kids in school, then I don't know. Teachers need jobs, and like also, we don't need the country to get used to kids being homeschooled. Kids need to go to a school. Yeah. Like virtual school forever is not a thing. That's the last thing I have to say.
Yeah, I don't think virtual school forever will work for most people. Again, our economy, if you have children, our economy depends on your kid being at school for 8 hours so that you can work, so that you can contribute to the economy. So I guess my closing thoughts on the education thing, with Landon, I have kind of a mindset of what I want him to do in school and how I want his school experience to be. Do I think it's all going to go exactly that way? Probably not. But I do want to, like, as he gets older and gets into that school place, my main thing about school is I just want to give Landon every advantage that we possibly can give him so that he can choose whatever he wants to do. He's been exposed to as many options as he can.
World is his oyster.
I don't want, like, he can't because we can't to be a thing. I don't want him to come home and be like, I really want to participate in this, and us be like, well, I'm sorry, you can't. No, I want to be like, yes, please, like, participate in that, be involved in that. Like, I'll take you or whatever. Like, I'm sure every parent wants that experience for their kid. Maybe not, honestly, because there's some messed up people in this world. But I want that to be Landon's experience in school throughout his whole school experience, so that when he gets to that point where he's trying to pick a career, he had all the tools. Just want to give him all the tools.
Yeah. Good. Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys learned something or got a new perspective maybe, or if you didn't, go ahead and leave us a comment, or you can comment on a post. We will put a post up of a clip or something this week. So go ahead and leave a comment on that, or send us an email, or when you're doing all that, go ahead and hit the 5th star on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you enjoyed what you heard. And yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on, like,
let
what
us
you're
know,
planning on doing.
Yeah, what do you want to send your kid back to school? Let us know what your thoughts are, what your fears are.
Yeah, exactly. We want to hear all the things, because, you know, I have to make decisions on sending him to school. Amber's got preschool on the brain, so got all the things turning here. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.